We are live. Hello, what's up, everybody? It has been a while. I have been on a bit of a hiatus, a rather unannounced and long hiatus. Yeah, I got busy with work and other stuff, but to kind of get back into the motion of the things, I thought, what funner way of doing it than just with a movie review with a good old movie reviewing friend of mine, Loudmouth Reviews. Say hi, Loudmouth.
Hello.
So, Loudmouth, what you're telling me off air about the little documentary, nature documentary that you watched and the bad editing by NBC. What do you want to say about that?
Oh, yeah, Surviving Earth on NBC. They've released the first three episodes. It's on Peacock. I've been looking forward to this one for a very long time. It was announced about 4 years ago, and I've always been a big fan of prehistory and science documentaries in general. And this was made by Tim Haynes, the creator of the original Walking with Dinosaurs,
Okay,
and
so it's
it covers mass extinctions. Every single episode is basically about disasters that happen in prehistory that wiped out species.
okay. So not just the dinosaurs. It goes back to the one that wiped out the Eurypterids and so forth.
Yeah, there's about eight different, some of which feature the dinosaurs, and some are set before that.
Yeah, I
Uh,
do
it,
remember. Go ahead.
yeah, was the last episode actually was about the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. Uh, I guess that kind of makes it a bit of a depressing show because at the end of every episode, everybody dies. it's just it's it's pretty much you see creatures that start off normal and then all of a sudden the whole world goes to hell for them, and then by the end they're all dead.
Yeah, it's like the Patrick meme from SpongeBob, and everybody died. The end.
Yeah, that's pretty much every episode of Surviving Earth, but which is a great idea for a series that covers all the mass extinctions because so much about the world we live on is the result of them. I mean, if the asteroid that wiped out the non-alien dinosaurs hadn't hit, we wouldn't exist, for example.
Yeah, and you kind of got on me like for not being much into nature documentaries. There was actually this one nature documentary that was going into at least three of the big extinction events. I was recently in a World Treasures Museum that's here in Wichita,
Yeah.
Kansas. It was quite a cool place. I'll have to go back to there because there's so much I did not check out. But it mentioned five extinction events, but this documentary covered at least three of them. The first big one that I can't remember. It might have been like undersea volcanoes erupting, and that was the one that did a major death blow to the trilobites, and it like shifted
Well, the
the
trilobites
hierarchy of.
survived that one. It was I think you're referring to the Antarctician mass extinction 445 million years ago, which Surviving Earth will actually cover in a future episode. It was caused by a massive dip in carbon dioxide that shrank the seas worldwide and
Okay,
froze a huge chunk of the planet.
so it might have been the second one that they were covering. That was a massive undersea volcano eruption. But the first one, it was focusing a lot on the Eurypterids, which are like kind of a proto scorpion, from my
Yeah, yeah,
understanding, and then these other species of undersea animals that almost looked more like a squid with a very long tube of a head and or body and rather shorter tentacles compared to um, modern day squids and octopi.
Are you referring
Uh,
to the Netflix documentary Life on Our Planet? Because I think it covered some of those.
Maybe, like I said, I can't remember the name of the documentary. All I know is that it covered that, and then of course it covered the third one was the one that made the dinosaurs go extinct, and it was featuring a lot these kind of little mousy mammalian creatures that were they're not really like mouse, but you know that's what I draw the closest comparison to is what they were like is underground mice that were supposed to be an ancestor of apes and humans and so forth, and that they were just taking cover in little holes and burrows underground while the dinosaurs suffered on the surface. The sulfuric acidic rain and everything else that was caused because of the asteroid.
Uh-huh.
It's kind
Yeah,
of cool.
and Surviving Earth, when it covers that, has like they made a unique decision, whereas almost every other program that's covered the KT asteroid impact has covered it from the point of view of Tyrannosaurus Rex and the other denizens of actually the Hell Creek Formation, which is in the western United States. This one instead is set much further north and follows a completely different Saurid Nanosaurus in the Arctic, which is much further away from the blast.
Right.
But of course, it's so I guess because it's set that much further away that the creatures there probably would have clung on a bit longer because they were further from the cataclysm. But I think like the most grim scene is when they notice the asteroid's diamond dust covering the clouds, and the narrator says they will never see the sun again.
Mm.
Like, utterly grim. And there's another scene where because there's one hadrosaurs migrated north and south in the winter in the Arctic, kind of similar to how caribou did today. And even though it was summer, they were migrating south in the hopes that, because their instinct says if it gets cold up north, you migrate south will be more lush. But actually, thanks to the impact, no, it'd actually be the opposite. Further south they go, the closer they are to the impact site, and thus the worse it'll get for them. So their natural instincts wouldn't serve them.
Yeah. It's just a screen share button. There it is. Yeah.
But the first episode is actually set before the dinosaurs evolved. To cover 252 million years ago, and it covers a worse mass extinction, the Great Dying.
I just looked up Hadrosaurus and what they looked like. There they are.
Yeah, hadrosaurs were a diverse family in the later part of the Cretaceous. There were quite a few of them.
Very diverse, apparently, because there's some of them that show that they have that little fin off the back of their head, and some of them that don't. And interesting.
Well, the one specifically in this episode was Edmontosaurus. It's one that's believed to have survived to the very end of the Cretaceous. And there was a species that lived further north than they lived throughout the whole continent. And
Gotcha.
It's a pretty sad story. And well, during the Great Dying, 252 million years ago, instead follows a pack of Inostrancevia, a kind of gorgonopsid, which actually was a proto mammal. And this is like over 10 million years before the first dinosaurs evolved. And a couple scenes seem inspired by the Lion King. Like there's this big fight at the end between this one younger male and the dominant leader of the pack for control of the pack, but ultimately it's a fight for nothing because the pack is doomed no matter what due to the horrors that are happening around them. The Great Dying is actually an even bigger mass extinction than the one that would later kill the non-avian dinosaurs. That killed 75% of species, whereas the Great Dying killed over 90% of all species. And it was not caused by an asteroid. It was caused by basically the Earth burning.
The after effects of the asteroid?
No, it was not caused by an asteroid. It was caused by the Earth burning.
Burning from what?
Well, basically, when trees first evolved, there weren't funguses that can break apart wood the way there are today. So whenever a tree died, it would just get buried under in the dirt, and then that happened millions and millions of years. Billions and billions of trees got buried for tens of millions of years, and that's what coal is. Coal is the result of those trees. Then in 252 million years ago in Siberia, there were these massive volcanic eruptions that spewed out and ignited billions and billions of tons of dead trees and unleashed massive amounts of carbon into the atmosphere, thousands of times more than humans have released in their entire history, and the planet cooked.
And this would have been well after the asteroid. I'm not saying because of the asteroid, but it happened well after the asteroid ever landed.
This happened 252 million years ago, 10 million years before the first dinosaur.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a worse mass extinction than the asteroid caused, is what I'm saying.
Interesting.
It killed even more species, and that's the first episode of Surviving Earth covers that one.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that one has no dinosaurs in it because dinosaurs hadn't evolved yet.
All right.
As I said, the main character of it is a proto mammal, not even a reptile, in a Stroncevia, a kind of gorgonopsid. It was a proto mammal predator that was the size of a grizzly bear and had massive saber fangs. It was kind of the top predator in. I think it was discovered in Russia.
And those aren't the pictures that you sent me on text message or wherever it was that you sent. Okay.
No, it was a predator. No, this creature. It had massive saber fangs. We don't know if it had hair or not. Netflix actually included it in one of their documentaries, and they actually gave it hair. Surviving Earth does not, and we don't know either way. So honestly, both are equally accurate as far as we know.
All right.
No one really knows exactly when hair evolved, but besides all that, the main problem with Surviving Earth as a whole is definitely caused by NBC. It seems like whoever re-edited the program kind of seems to have a contempt for the audience's attention span. Every time there's a commercial break, it feels a need when we come back to have a dumbass recap of something we already just saw.
Oh,
like as if it's like being made for someone who turned to the episode halfway through. Before we move on, here's a recap of what you just watched 5 minutes ago. Was this made for Dory from Finding Nemo?
Right.
And like, I'm really hoping there's like a better version of this series comes out later that doesn't feature that bullshit, because that really brought the show down. And from what I read, it wasn't a part of the original show that Impossible Pictures made. It was something NBC kind of re-edited when it was delivered to them. So I'm like, similar to how I had released the Snyder Cut, release the Haynes Cut. Because
speaking of which, I have a physical copy of the Snyder Cut. I still have yet to watch that, actually.
Really? It's definitely better than the theatrical version.
Oh, I'm sure. Speaking of theatrical movies, though, get onto brass tacks. Masters of the Universe. So I saw that a few days ago, and Loudmouth, I saw that you tweeted that you really don't like that movie.
I guess I didn't hate it, but it annoyed me a lot because the goddamn movie refuses to take itself seriously even for a minute. And I'm not gonna say that it has to be like super serious. I realize the cartoon was campy as hell. I'm not gonna pretend that this was like.
I mean, it's a guy in a
story.
loincloth with a big ass sword fighting a guy with a skull head. So
yeah, that was a big disappointment that they didn't go over Skeletor's origin, because in the 2002 like reboot series, which I think is actually better than the animated cartoon, it's probably my favorite version of Masters of the Universe. Kind of gives Skeletor a backstory where he used to be human, and he gets like his face gets mangled, and he like makes a deal with a dark power in order to in order that turns him into Skeletor. But I was kind of hoping we'd get that in this movie. Jared Leto plays him. You could have Jared Leto play him in live action, but when he's human, and then like go for Skeletor's origin. No, we don't get that. He's Skeletor from the very beginning, and which was lame.
Yeah. The lost potential right there. And which, speaking of Jared Leto, everybody goes saying that this is one of his better performances, and I have to agree. Although unfortunately, this is kind of this is kind of continuing the trend of Jared Leto being like a poison for a movie, be it box
Yeah.
office or review poison. Because Suicide Squad 2016, even though it wasn't a box office disappointment, it still was review poison, having him casted as Joker in that movie. And of course, Morbius, hardly nobody saw that movie. Same with Tron Ares and Blade Runner 2049. I guess people kind of liked him, but honestly, I don't know. I did not. I was like, nah, whatever with that movie.
You know,
So
almost none of those movies were any good either. But I'd say the biggest problem was the pacing. This movie
yeah,
is like 2 hours and like without credits, what 2 hours and 10 minutes, something like that. It did not need to be. You could have cut
yeah.
a half hour out of that movie easily. There is not. There is about a half hour where the movie just meanders and does nothing.
Yeah, it does meander at too many points, and honestly,
It's
it
boring.
meandered quite a bit when they got to the little hiding spot of where the Royal Guard were hiding out ever since Skeletor took over
Yeah.
the entirety of Eternia,
And,
and
and
there
really,
could have been
Skeletor's so stupid that he decides to put all of the heroes all in the same cell. Why would you do that, you stupid fuck? And it was incredibly easy for them to get out. It literally just required He-Man do a pep talk on them.
to do a pep talk, and then they all like
It wasn't even a
bench
good pep
pressed.
talk.
They
It was the
all
lamest pep talk ever, but that's all it took.
Yeah, pretty lame actually. And point out more of the thought of the flaws. Maybe it does like kind of downgrade in my mind a little bit, but yeah. Not to mention the Marvel-esque sense of humor. That was what really annoyed me about the movie. I mean,
Oh
sometimes
yeah,
there was
it's constant.
sometimes there was a joke that kind of landed for me, but there were multiple times, like the amount of times when that Skeletor would like laugh in the air, and then it just, the scene just keeps on going awkwardly with silence, and he's like, "That was it. That was it. What do you want from me? Go find Adam and the rest of them." It's like uh, they did that like what at least 3 times in the movie. It got rather annoying.
Well, another thing I thought was done poorly is I think there should have been. I thought they should have done what Captain America: The First Avenger did when it comes to the difference between Prince Adam and He-Man. The guy that got was both too buff and in too good a shape to be Prince Adam, and not buff enough to be He-Man. He-Man should be as buff as a human being can get. The guy's in good shape, but he's not like the buffest guy ever, and He-Man should be. Well, there should have been like some kind of digital trickery that he looks significantly bigger and buffer when he makes the transition to from Prince Adam to He-Man. He does the whole "I have the power."
Yeah, no, might I say that those sequences were cool, and to my knowledge, anyways, I haven't watched the original '80s series, but to my knowledge, seemed pretty accurate to the source material. And as far as like how muscular he was, I don't know. I thought it was all right. I mean, I don't expect them to go the full cartoony like length of it. There was one time when that I was critical of how Gaston in the live action Beauty and the Beast was not buff enough in that movie. But then thinking hindsight, yeah, he did not need to be as big as the cartoon version of him. But
But I just think
that
there should have
aside,
been a difference between Prince. Well, because there was a thing in the '80s show that most people didn't know that Prince Adam was He-Man, which was kind of silly because they looked very similar. That was another thing the 2002 series did better than the original '80s show, is they actually do have a different model and design for him as Prince Adam and as He-Man. So it actually makes sense that people wouldn't be able to tell that they're one and the same. But there
I
you
have to
could
look that
excuse it.
up.
Yeah,
Actually.
it's an '80s cartoon. Didn't have the biggest budget. Essentially a toy commercial. Here, I think there should have been like what Captain America: The First Avenger did. You know how they made Chris Evans look scrawny before he takes the serum. They should have done something like that.
Gotcha. I mean, I'm definitely all ears for that digital resizing idea. I mean, if it actually looks good, anyways. And in the case of Captain America, it did look good. It's just that sometimes, special effects can be kind of hit and miss nowadays
Uh,
because special effects artists are kind of overworked and so forth.
But I'd say that By far, I'd say the movie overall would get maybe a 5 out of 10 for me. The thing that, and also, man, some of those scenes on Earth, after he gets sent to Earth, and it's like a half hour before he movie dragged to a halt. Every scene there was fucking boring and annoying.
I mean, yeah, there was that, but I think it was kind of intentionally portrayed as annoying. All the HR representatives, they were trying to parody those people. They were
Oh, we
trying to make it.
oh, we intentionally made our movie insufferable. That makes it okay.
Well, not the movie itself necessarily, just those characters particular. Like they weren't wanting to they weren't wanting to be all preachy about, oh, leftists, hipsters, and HR are bad, okay, or anything like that. But they wanted to subtly deliver it. And what was the most, well, as subtle as can be, anyways, of doing something like that? Instead of having a preachy speech about how they're bad, just portray them as annoying. And that's what they were. I mean, I'm kind of the same camp as Critical Drinker and all of his friends, in that I got a little bit of a kick of how that they were portraying them as annoying, and that I got the messaging of what they were trying to do, trying to parody
Maybe I
them.
would have gotten a kick out of it if it was actually funny. The problem is, I didn't find any of it funny. I was just kind of like, I'm just sitting there. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
when are we going to move on from this shit? Why did we have to go to Earth at all? That was something the '80s movie did, and that one was excusable because it's the fucking '80s. You could have set this whole movie on in your fantasy world. Instead, you have to feel a need to bring him to Earth for no reason.
I will say that it definitely could have been funnier if they had more balls for ragging on hipster HR reps.
But they
Like
did.
they could have had a little part of where that the HR boss lady goes on to Adam, like, Adam, you need to have your pronouns, and he's trying to like push aside the little pronouns label or anything like that. But no, they did not.
They didn't. They didn't have the balls, and they felt the need to like have him go all HR manager on all the rest of it, then in Eternia later
I
on. And
mean,
I'm like,
yeah.
are you fucking kidding me? At that point,
I mean, it seemed
and
like
it did
he.
feel like it was ridiculing manhood and the fact that they have his father kind of embarrass him in front of the other dudes, and that's the last we see of him. And it definitely doesn't portray that as something heroic his father is doing. Where then He-Man, when he takes on the mantle, he starts talking to them like a lame HR rep. So I don't know if it was making fun of HR reps. It seemed like it was. It gave itself just enough plausible deniability to do that, but it didn't seem that's what they were doing at all. That's
I think it's kind of a little bit of both, in that he was acclimated a little bit to the HR world, and then he was all like, hey, let's negotiate this out first of all. But at the same time, he did seem kind of annoyed of that HR lifestyle that he was put in those scenes on
but
Earth.
not really because it
So,
was HR lifestyle. It just seemed like he wanted to get back to attorney, and not that he was annoyed about being an HR rep.
mm, maybe. I don't know, plausible deniability, I guess. And I will say that those scenes with his dad could have definitely been flushed out a lot better. Maybe one more scene with them two before. Spoilers alert! Spoiler alert, by the way, everybody. Before his dad died, would have been nice. Maybe a nice Mufasa Simba type of scene or something. Because I can understand what they were kind of trying to do at first, in that his dad was a bit of a hard ass, was trying to be harsh on him to toughen him up a bit. But there was no let up on that. Not really. I mean, at least he did not completely like. I mean, yeah, he knocked him on his ass a bit, but he did not completely bruise and bloody him up like Ozai did to Zuko and Avatar: The Last Airbender or anything like that. So,
Which is weird
so,
behavior from the king. I mean, I get the
so
king wants to teach his son to man up, but what kind of father just embarrasses his son in front of everyone like that? That's kind of
So
lesson you'd give your son, like in a private lesson, but everyone's around him. What kind of parent goes out of their way to humiliate his son like that?
So the thing I was about to say was, so he doesn't completely abuse him like a Ozai did, but at the same time, you mentioned the whole embarrassment part, and it does. Now that you mentioned it, it makes me think of um Snoke treating General Hux the way that he did in Star
Well,
Wars: The Last Jedi,
yeah, I
the
mean,
opening
no,
scene there.
obviously he was not on
So,
the level of Fire Lord Ozai. Fire Lord Ozai was a fucking psychopath, and was obviously a villain. But it still was kind of, it felt like they were portraying tough fathers as in a very negative light.
um, mm, I don't know if they were like intentionally trying to do that, or if they just did
I
not.
think they were.
A lot of these ideas just seems that they did not put enough thought into it. Like even the whole thing of a lot of people go saying that it's an anti-man, and you mentioned some points about the whole anti-man side of it, about the father-son relationship wasn't flushed out to all that well, but at the same time they let the men kick some serious ass throughout this movie. Like He-Man
Here,
is
I
just
got to let my dog out. I'll
single-handedly.
be right back.
Oh, okay.
Keep talking.
All right. So to say to the audience, what my further point was going to be, He-Man, he was single-handedly taking down Skeletor's goons, and he is also the one guy who goes up against Skeletor. He does not get any help from Tila to steal his thunder or anything like that. There's, aside from like the very beginning scenes of where that, before Adam actually becomes He-Man and powerful and whatnot. I mean, because it makes sense, obviously. She's the actual trained warrior, and he's just a regular average Joe Schmo on Earth. It wouldn't be until after he gets the power of the sword that he would start kicking butt. But when you would think that if this was like a full-on feminism movie, that even after he got the power of the sword, he would be still having his thunder kind of stolen from Tila. But
Well,
there
he
was
kind of
nothing
did have
like
his
that.
thunder stolen when he goes for a kiss from Tila, and she turns him down, even though this is literally from the buffest, most powerful man on earth. Or what the fuck?
Well, I was talking about like there is that but I was saying stealing his thunder as in like in an action scene, like instead of He-Man getting the final blow on Skeletor, no, Tila comes in at the final moment to give the final blow to Skeletor. There was nothing like that, was what I was trying to point out.
No, I guess nothing like that. I guess, yeah, it could have been definitely worse in terms of like the demasculization angles. So it wasn't
And
terrible in that regard, but it wasn't all that good either.
And maybe what they're trying to do is they're trying to save a kiss with Tila and He-Man for like a second movie, but unfortunately, as the box
Then
office
they shouldn't have put that
receipts are
scene in
showing,
there.
huh?
Then they shouldn't have ever put that scene in there where he goes for it and she turns him down.
Maybe not. Yeah, I mean,
They
typical
didn't have to
Marvel
have that
movie
in the movie.
humor, typical Marvel-esque humor, I
Yeah,
guess.
it was lame Marvel-esque humor, and I rolled my eyes. I'm like, yeah, this is lame. You're still not. He already got the power, and you're still gonna try to knock this guy down.
Yeah. I will say that I would have liked a little bit more kicking butt from the Idris Elba portrayal of Man at Arms towards the second and third act. I mean, he definitely kicked butt in the first act, and in the third act, he is the guy who finally gets to kill Trap Jaw, as I guess is the guy's nickname. So there is that. But there was like a few too many points of where that he was a bumbling buffoon in the second act. I thought. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because he was drunk, just getting out of a drunken stupor at that point. But I don't know. It seemed that they were playing it up a little bit too much, in my opinion.
But
Loudmouth, you muted yourself. Sound like you're about to say a point, but you muted yourself.
sorry, yeah, I was gonna say, like I said, the biggest thing you could have do to improve this whole movie is to cut the length. If you just like went through and edited out a bunch of stupid ass Marvel humor on it, you'd elevate this not to a great movie, but an entertaining movie. But it
Yeah.
features like a half hour of just unwatchable cringe that drags the whole thing down and really made it hard to watch.
I wish I could remember the earlier point that I was going to mention about the whole masculinity part about this, but whatever. Maybe I'll remember it later. I will say the one robot lady character, I can't even remember her name. Um, I thought she was kind of charming enough. I mean, honestly, she felt like a more charming version of L3 from Solo, wouldn't you think? That's kind of what I saw in her.
I guess that's a fair point.
Yeah. Um,
But another thing that annoyed me is the fact that it kind of almost made fun of all the characters' names we get this stupid retcon that all the characters' silly names are just ones that the He-Man or Prince Adam made for them as a kid rather than their actual names, which was stupid. Why that? Yes, I get that the names were silly. It's based on a children's show, and these characters were made to sell toys, but they could still be like a big trade with Disney within this movie's universe. No, we're just going to retcon it for no reason that Adam made them up as a kid, and yet they still like take on the names anyway. What the fuck?
I mean, they could have at least been like code names for all of them. I mean, have them have their real names, their civilian names in Eternia, and then the names like Mechanic and the like.
Yeah,
It's
they could
their
have at least done
soldier
that.
code names.
Yeah, they could have done that instead. No, they're just names. The names that he came up for them as a kid, and lame.
I will say the whole fisting joke got pretty overbearing whenever they mentioned Fisto's name.
Yeah, because his name's Fisto, they felt the need they had to do that, of course.
Drive it to the ground. It's like you beat that dead horse to a pulp.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the bad humor just dragged the whole thing down. And another thing is you totally wasted a Battle Cat in it.
Yeah,
you only get to see him ride Battle Cat for like the last 30 seconds. That's a big part of it. He rides Battle Cat.
Yeah, kind of wasted potential. I mean, not that I can feel particularly one way or the other because I'm not like a He-Man Masters of the Universe fan since my childhood or anything, but I can see the annoyance there for more loyal fans.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna. I know the cartoon show was silly. Yeah, I mean a lot of '80s shows they were silly as hell, but there's a difference between just kind of cartoon silliness and weird and magical campiness and this ironic Marvel humor that everything's got to have now. There's a difference.
I think what the point that I was going to mention earlier. So what I kind of would have really liked in this movie is if there was a little bit of a training montage, maybe sometime in the beginning of the second act when he gets to their hideout area with the royal guard and so forth, because it seems like. I mean, yeah, once he gets the power of the sword, it makes sense that he would be more durable and more strong and whatnot. But for him to actually know how to actually use and the sword, swing it in to deflect other blows and cut people's heads off and whatnot, it's just, yeah, where did he get all these skills? I don't recall him having any fighting training on Earth. And plus, whenever he drove the Eternian vehicles at that point, it's like, yeah, I don't think he would actually know how to drive those vehicles at that point in that movie. It kind of felt a little bit like Rey magically knowing how to fly the Millennium Falcon just a little bit. It's like the thing that I was going to say earlier was that even though that they're not totally leaning into the whole anti-man part about it. In general, the men still get to kick butt. At the same time, it felt like an overly simplistic and novice portrayal of pro-men messaging. Like there wasn't a fully fleshed out arc with He-Man and him going training and learning how to muster his powers. It's just that he just magically somehow gets over it, knows how to fight and everything. And plus, not a fully fleshed out arc between he and his dad of getting along better, or his dad apologizing for sorry that I treated you so harshly and whatnot.
Scene at his dad's death with Skeletor still in the fucking room. You know, shouldn't you wait till the villain's defeated instead of like having them hugging your dad, and then he gets knocked over the back of the head? What do you think was going to happen, you fucking idiot?
That kind of sucked me out of it just a little bit, not gonna lie.
Yeah, you made the that scene just makes He-Man into a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. Was He-Man a himbo in the original source material?
Probably if you watch every episode of the show, I'm sure you'll find scenes where He-Man's decision making isn't the best if you really think about it. But I can't think of any moment where he lets Skeletor get the drop on him on him that easily. I mean, generally, Skeletor was tough, but He-Man was always tougher. I mean, He-Man always won whenever they were in combat.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think either 5 or 6 out of 10 in my book, mostly dragged down by the humor. And even though it wasn't a totally anti-man movie, some of the pro-man arcs or whatever weren't fully flushed out or realized. It's almost like a corporate jockey's lame, lazy attempt at being pro-masculinity. Is
Yes.
like
That's the perfect way to describe it, actually.
like a
That's exactly what it felt like.
kind of like how corporate jockeys are given these ham-fisted and overly simplistic representations of female empowerment, and that all the quote-unquote anti-woke channels hate out of Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, and Captain Marvel and the like.
Right.
But it had some fun action scenes, I will definitely
Yeah,
say about
yeah,
that.
that a few fun action sequences. It mostly looks very good. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I did like Skeletor's design most of the time. So yeah, you could do worse, but but this movie could have been so much better.
What did you think of what do you think of the Dolph Lundgren cameo?
Actually, that was pretty cute, I guess, because he was in that silly '80s movie.
Yeah. So, speaking of other new movies that we've watched, have you seen Hoppers? Pixar's newest movie? Hello?
What was that?
Oh, I guess you kind of walked away from your computer. I was just asking if you had watched Pixar's newest Hoppers.
Yes.
Okay. I thought that it was at least better than Elio, but it's
better than
still
Elio, I'll
not
give it
that great. But what do you think, though?
An amusing kids movie, so perfectly fine, as you said, better than Elio. So definitely not one of Pixar's worst movies, I guess.
Yeah, and legitimately, there were plenty of moments in Hoppers that it kind of shocked me a bit. Like, oh shit, they actually did that. Like the one part of where that Mabel, she accidentally, quote unquote, squishes the butterfly queen of the insects. I was all like, oh crap, they actually did that.
And I did find that kind of funny. And then the scene later when when her when her daughter's like trying doing this villainous speech, flying around them, and they just eat her real quickly. I thought that that actually did get a chuckle out of me.
Daughter, I thought that was supposed to be the butterfly queen's son. Was who
Or
it
son,
was?
yeah, the son. I'm sorry, yeah.
I do gotta say that the that what was that
And
character's
I
name?
thought the
Let me
floating
look it
great
up.
white shark gag was kind of funny. Like it's ridiculous. That whole scene is fucking ridiculous, but it kind of worked for me in a very cartoony way.
The birds flying the shark to do
Yeah,
a
it's totally absurd. I mean, even for it's a borderline Tex Avery level of silliness, but I still kind of like it.
yeah, I gotcha. Oh, Titus. That was the name of the main villain in this movie. Spoiler alert, everybody, but not really. Titus, the insect king, after the butterfly insect queen had got squished by Mabel. I actually found Titus kind of surprisingly entertaining in this movie. Definitely was better than Grygon in Elio.
Oh yeah,
And the
that was
way
just
that
lame.
they
Whereas this, at least the villain isn't the most intimidating villain, but at least was kind of funny.
it wasn't very intimidating, but I do still find it kind of impressive how that Pixar actually managed to make a butterfly look kind of vicious. I mean, he wasn't threatening and imposing necessarily, but it's not like a butterfly, like the way they portrayed that butterfly character in A Bug's Life being like, over 28 years ago now? More than that, even? But of how a butterfly is so beautiful and graceful. No, this Titus, the little butterfly king, he's just menacing and maniacal and just lashing out consistently at everybody, and it was, yeah, entertaining and in its own vicious kind of way. I will say that I did not particularly care that much for our main protagonist, though, that being Mabel. In fact, there's one part of where that one of the other side characters actually referred to Mabel as the shrill and unlikable beaver, and I was all like, is the movie actually speaking my opinion for me on what I think about the protagonist? Because
Another
the,
adult joke I was kind of shocked by was when they're discussing killing people, and the duck says, "You know what he was saying here? Flap around and find out."
I did find that funny. There was quite a few funny gags in this movie.
That's I'm like, for kids, everybody.
Actually, that kind of reminds me of one gag from Shrek the Third, of where that Shrek is all like, "And I'm glad that you're my frog king dad-in-law," because it's supposed to be a play on fucking dad-in-law.
Well, the name in Shrek, you do know the name Lord Farquaad came up because it sounds similar to
Fuckwad, yeah,
Fuckwad, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that the whole character was essentially created as an insult at Disney's Michael Eisner.
Yeah, I would only come to understand that many decades later, when I would actually get into movie reviews, that
They even
now I
imply
realize
he has
that.
a small. I mean, they make him short. They imply he has a small cock. It's just, yeah, they did everything they could to degrade Michael Eisner. Almost as
Yeah,
if Jeffrey Kratzenberg was a bit of a petty son of a bitch.
yeah, pretty petty. But back on to Hoppers though. Mabel, on top of her being unlikable, she did not even go through much of a character arc that I could see in this movie. Her individually, anyways. I thought that the character that went on the biggest character arc was, funnily enough, the mayor, actually.
Yeah,
And even before the mayor actually went on as a character arc of becoming 1% a good guy or whatever, it wasn't that completely unlikable of a character. I mean, yeah, he had some apathy to nature, but as unrealistic it seemed that this one political character actually did care for his constituents and that he wanted to complete the Beltway highway so that his citizens can have at least like a 5 minute or 6 minute quicker commute time around the city and so
well, it
forth.
kind of. I like that.
And he
Also,
cared for his.
kind of had an environmentalist message to it a bit without being preachy.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that they were trying to not be preachy, but I don't know. There was points of which I thought that the message of the movie was a little bit confused, to say the least. Like on the one hand, they like the movie wants to have it to kick and eat it too. It's like the movie wants to say that humans are bad, but I don't know. What am I trying to say? Like Mabel is supposed to be the stand-in character for all the hippie environmentalists who love nature, love animals, maybe even the vegans out there and so forth. And she doesn't seem all that fond of humans, aside from her own grandmother, who is dead at the point that we pick up in the movie. And she really hates the mayor for the so much so hates the mayor to where that she goes up to his private residence and protests in front of there. Like that's some real world Antifa level type of crap right there, if I might point out. So she really hates the mayor this much, but when the Council of Animals is called and they suggest squishing the mastermind of building the highway, that being, of course, Mayor What's His Face, she's suddenly like flip flop 180, like no, 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 don't squish the mayor. It's like,
Well,
where
just
did this
because she
come
doesn't
from?
like the guy doesn't mean she wants to him murdered. You know. There
Yeah,
are people who I generally dislike and don't want to associate with, but I don't want to murder either.
sure, but I guess I just don't see of why that you would try so hard to go out of her way for that at least. Well,
Maybe,
like she
maybe.
does.
Well, and in terms of how funny it was, I heard people praising it as Pixar's funniest movie. I don't really
That's
agree.
no.
I mean, it had a few funny gags, but I don't think a single scene in this movie is even half as funny as the end of Monsters Inc., the whole Another Gator scene.
Monsters Inc., the first 3 Toy Stories, Bugs
Or-
Life.
I still think Monsters Inc. is the biggest laugh in any Pixar movie. The scene where they throw Randall in that through that door, and there's that hillbilly couple. Ma, another gator got in the house. Another gator. Give me that shovel. Come here.
Yeah.
No matter how many times. I remember being in the theater in 2001 watching it. The whole theater just erupted in laughter, and no matter how many times I've seen that movie, I still chuckle at that scene. It's really, really, really funny, and I don't think anything in Hoppers was even half that funny.
Yeah. I gotcha. I think that the funniest that it gets is a movie that is overall better than it, but not quite as funny. That being Monsters University. Because Monsters University, even though I got a few more laughs out of it than your typical movie reviewer like Nostalgia Critic and Shay Frilla's production on YouTube, I still got to admit that it's not that funny in the grand scheme of things. But Hoppers was at least funnier than Monsters University, even if Monsters
I
University is a
probably
better
agree.
overall
Monsters
movie.
University did have a couple of good laughs. I love the one when they're at the debate club and when Mike's looking at all the places he could find clubs, and there's a two-headed monster. And they're like saying, "Do you like to join debate club? It could make you happy." And the other head says, "I disagree for the following reasons. True happiness is a theoretical concept."
Wow, yeah,
It-
philosophical sophistry.
yes, that gag actually did me a good laugh. But so Monsters Inc. But yeah, I will agree. I'd say Hoppers might be a little bit funnier than Monsters University. But Monsters University is the better movie because it had a much better message.
Oh yeah, much better realized, much better flushed out than I think that the environmental message was the main thing that Hoppers was trying to go for. It's not like that they really leaned into her going through Mabel going through an identity crisis as far as love for her grandmother or whatever was trying to go on there. It just seems simply that she missed her grandmother, which is a good enough investable thing. I mean, we all miss our grandparents once they pass away and so forth, but it was just that. It was just simple. Whereas Monsters University had the more complex and thought-provoking message more than anything that Hoppers
Yeah,
ever had.
that's the main thing. In terms of just well delivered message, Monsters Inc. is one of Pixar's best movies, even if its
Well, I said
jokes
Monsters University,
are a
but
bit
yeah.
hit and miss. There, because yeah, there are quite a few jokes that don't really land in it as the negative I'd say about it.
Yep. I will say that I kind of like the Beaver King a bit. I can't remember his name exactly, but he uh, he was all right. He was a nice guy. Maybe a little bit too much on the naive side sometimes, but hey, that's just was in his nature, I guess.
And the whole idea that animals are just all allowed to eat each other in this community and no one thinks anything of it. I'm on. Do you actually study nature at all? I mean, animals who are targeted for predation tend to fight for their lives pretty intensely. That's not really how nature works.
Yeah, that's
I
like
mean, I know it's a cartoon, but I still kind of thought that was a little ridiculous.
I think
Even for
that
this
the
stuff.
I think that the animals were a little bit too kumbaya with each other, whereas in
Yeah, animals are not kumbaya with each other. They're at war with each other. The
I will
wild
say,
robot did a good job representing that.
honestly, I was about to mention that actually because there's a lot of parallels that I see with Hoppers versus the Wild Robot. I could not help but watch Hoppers and be consistently reminded of the Wild Robot. It seemed like it took a whole lot of chapters out of the DreamWorks playbook on making a nature movie. I mean, it's a robot in nature, and there's a bear, constantly a grumpy old bear character, just like in the Wild Robot, and at the end climax, nature has to put out a wildfire, just like in Wild Robot as well. So
Yeah,
copy
but the
paste
wild
much?
robot was a far better movie than
It
Hoppers.
was. And one of those aspects was they were a little bit too kumbaya in Hoppers, and whereas in the Wild Robot, even though there was a point where they were getting along with each other, they still realized at the end of the day, like the one line from the Mark Hamill bear where he's all like to the Pedro Pascal Fox character saying it, you do realize that after this is done, I'm still going to chase after you for food, right?
Right. Because
So
yeah, I mean,
a full recognition of nature being nature, that there is a hierarchy and a food chain as far as who eats who or what eats what and so forth.
yeah,
Whereas
animals don't just all
hoppers,
get along with each other.
whereas hoppers want to kind of sweep it under the rug.
Yes, definitely.
But it's a kooky enough and a fun enough movie. I thought well worth the watch.
Yeah, yeah, definitely more of a kids movie than most Pixar movies. I'd say like in terms of all Pixar's movies, I would say Soul is probably the most adult of them. Probably
Yeah.
second would on that would be Up, and I'd probably say this was like the most kid like of Pixar's movies, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, but it's just kind of worth noting. I would have probably enjoyed this movie more if I were younger.
Yeah, most definitely. Um, I don't know. I kind of you say that Up is like the second most adult movie out of all of Pixar. I kind of would have to disagree because The Incredibles had a little bit more adult themes going on in it, and plus Up had the corny idea of balloons lifting a house completely out of
Yeah,
its
it's a fantasy
foundation.
element, but
So
Carl's main arc is the arc of an old man, going through loss of his wife, which isn't really a
oh,
theme
I get
that
it.
kids can really relate to
I get
as
it.
much. I mean, I guess kids have lost like grandparents or older relatives at times, but the theme of dealing with long term loss is something that is kind of foreign to children. I mean, they've been on this earth for such a short period of time that it really doesn't resonate with them as much.
I get it, and that was one of the more adultly things about Up. And I'm not saying that Up is completely for kids. It still would have to be at least top 10 as far as most adult Pixar movies go. But I'm just saying that compare something like that to themes of divorce and suspicions of cheating, like in The Incredibles, and political
Well,
intrigue and
yeah,
genocide of
Bob's
whole.
arc. I would agree. Bob's arc in The Incredibles definitely. It's a guy in his
Oh
early
yeah,
40s going through a midlife crisis.
midlife crisis.
Yeah,
Just a whole compounding of many facets of Incredibles that makes it overall more adultly than Up.
maybe. Yeah,
And
I can
plus,
see that actually.
um, yeah, Soul is definitely one of the more adult ones out of all of Pixar. I mean, even Ratatouille, which I kind of draw a lot of comparisons to because they're both character introspections more than anything. But at least Ratatouille had a few more cute and funny gags with the rats and um, Linguini, the bumbling man character that Remy is with. Um, so there was a few more comedic relief to relieve the tension. So because there wasn't as much comedic relief to relieve tension in Soul, therefore Soul is more adult. More boring means more adult, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I guess a slower pace kind of is, and I appreciate animators with a slower pace because I've seen too many that are so fucking frantic that they're just become incredibly aggravating. Like
Yeah.
I think like a slower pace teaches you patience. Like as I said, like even now, like documentaries seem to be made for people with no attention span. Like
Hmm.
as I was back when I was complaining all the side driving Earth. Hey, before we move on, let's have this recap of what you just saw 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
In case you weren't paying attention, or in case for some reason you decided to watch this from halfway through instead of from the beginning, as anyone should.
Yeah. And you really end up forgetting what was said in the previous segment just because of a 5 to 10 minute commercial break. Really? You that bad?
Uh,
Really bad at
like a 2-3 minute commercial break, really. Yeah, yeah. That I don't get why NBC felt the need to do that. It was so it dragged the series down, which was otherwise a very good show. In terms of like the animation, the science, all that was good. And I'm looking forward to future episodes.
Speaking of pacing, one thing that really bugged me, I mean, yeah, I can appreciate the slower pace of a lot of movies, like in the example of Soul and Ratatouille. You know, it's funny, I kind of contradict myself because in a previous live stream, I said that Ratatouille was like almost a little bit too slow paced, but nah, it's still fine. But no, what's a movie that was too slow paced, especially for its own good, I have to say, is Toy Story 4. Um, in
Kind of,
my
maybe a little bit. I did see Toy Story 5. I'd probably put it on par with number 4, I guess. Still, it wasn't really necessary for these movies to continue past 3, but I guess, but on its own, it was
Wait,
pretty good.
you watched Toy Story 5?
I did.
I thought you were all like, don't see it because you shouldn't contribute to the box office of it. Loudmouth flip flopped, I guess.
No, I didn't. I don't recall saying that on Toy Story 5. I was honestly indifferent towards that. And at my movie theater on Tuesdays gives out free popcorn. That probably sends me to the movies more than I normally would. It's just kind of it's a $5 ticket that comes with a popcorn.
I don't know. You said that to me that I should like only really watch it if the reviews are really that good for it.
The reviews were that good though.
I've been seeing mixed stuff about it. Like Critical Drinker and company, they're overall nah or thumbs down about it.
I like Critical Drinker well enough, but I'm not going to say the guy's the ultimate authority for me. Come on.
I'm not going to say he's the ultimate authority for me on opinions, but as far as helping me to decide on whether I want to go see something in theaters, he definitely is a big help for me in that regard. Although I do also see Schaefer's Productions rates it an 8 out of 10, though. So, I don't know. But you thought it was all right, though, Toy Story 5?
Yeah, I thought it was all right. Though it is kind of repetitive because if you really think about it, it's mostly it's thematically kind of similar to the original Toy Story, but with essentially Buzz Lightyear being replaced by the iPad thing and Jesse and Woody's whole place.
Yeah.
So, which I guess isn't too surprising, which kind of shows the series doesn't really have that many ideas for future installments. They're only making them because they keep making money.
Yeah, that's like the worst part about it. I don't know. Maybe it does not make a difference at all if whether or not that I see Toy Story 5 or not. And so,
am I going to say it's not? What is it? A must see? No, but it wasn't bad.
I'll definitely deprioritize it. In fact, if anything that I want to see up next in theaters, it'd have to be Scary Movie 6, which I might do after church tomorrow.
Don't.
What, you saw it?
It's bad, dude.
Oh, you thought it was bad. Well, then again, you and I have like differing opinions as far as Talladega Nights goes, so
I mean, no, I love a good parody movie. I like the new Naked Gun. This one, for every joke that worked, there were like 10 jokes that didn't land at all.
Okay.
So,
what did you think of White Chicks? Speaking of Wayans Brothers productions,
not really a fan. Though I'll admit Terry Crews in it was pretty funny. That's about it. Sorry, Terry. I am a fan of Terry Crews. As Camacho in Idiocracy, he just knocked it out of the park. Goddamn!
It just brings a certain energy that upscales the movie that much, huh?
Yeah, the guy's funny. I'm sorry. He's gonna fix the economy, and he's so smart. He's gonna do it all in 1 week.
Jeez. You know, it's almost like as if Terry Crews is trying to be a supplement for the, for Michael Clark Duncan, rest in peace.
Michael Clark Duncan never really was much of a comedian, whereas Terry Crews is mostly everything good I've seen him in were comedies.
Yeah, a fair point. Terry Crews is obviously more comedic than Michael Clark Duncan. I don't know. I
That
have to think.
whole yeah, and I love his full name, Dwayne Alexandria Mountain Dew Camacho, porn superstar, world wrestling champion, and president of the United States.
Porn superstar.
Yes, he's both a porn star, world wrestling champion, and president of the United States.
Wow.
At the House of Representing. And I love when he goes up there and he just says, shit. And then you see that he's actually reading off a teleprompter. The teleprompter actually says, shit.
like a pillow sheet.
Need to be written down.
Like a pillow sheet.
No, he says, shit. Yeah, like you would go up there and just utter a profanity, but it was on the goddamn teleprompter.
Oh, okay.
Which is so ridiculous and fucking hilarious.
It's been a while since I watched that movie. For some reason, I thought you were saying that the teleprompter was trying to spell shit, but ended up spelling sheet instead.
No, that's how he said. He's like, "What's this? Shit. I know shit's been bad lately with all dust bowls and all that starving bullshit out there, but I've got a solution."
Right. I got you.
Yeah, the Idiocracy remains one of the funniest movies of all time.
I don't know. How much of a fan of Wayne's Brothers productions are you normally? Like, did you like Major Payne?
I don't think I've seen Major Payne.
Oh, I thought it was good. I mean, it's not just purely a comedy. Yeah, it has comedic.
Wait, they did Don't Be a Menace, right? That one I did thought was funny.
I don't know. Don't know if I've ever heard this one. Let me look it up.
It's kind of like a parody of like of ghetto movies. It's really absurd. Like I love the one where they get arrested by the cops and while they're being booked, they're like, "We were arrested for being black on a Friday night. It was a misdemeanor, so we thought we'd get off quick."
Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. What the fuck? Catchy.
Yeah. It's an absurd movie. It's an over the top, goofy comedy. Mostly makes fun of inner city black folks, but I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Apparently, Wayans brothers really are stuff. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Wayans here. Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, Keenan Ivory Wayans.
Whereas, well, with Scary Movie 6, though, the real problem with it was there's too many references to earlier movies, and that's all it felt like. Even the jokes that were kind of funny, I realized were just kind of retreads of jokes from older movies that were just funnier than.
Isn't that kind of?
There's a scene where basically this one girl on a train's like about to be stabbed by the killer, but she demands the killer get her pronouns correct, and everyone's just sick of her woke bullshit, so the whole crowd joins in killing her. See, that scene is kind of funny, and it should be funnier than it is. The problem is it's pretty much just a retrend of the scene in the theater from the first Scary Movie. They already did that, and it was funnier then.
Well, maybe that's my problem. Is that I've never seen any of the Scary
Brenda's like
movies.
Being a noisy bitch in the movie theater, and the killer comes to kill her, but then like everyone else in the theater takes the knife away from the killer, and they stab her themselves because they're sick of her making too much noise in the movie theater.
Maybe that's part of my problem is that I've never seen any of the Scary movies.
The first couple were actually pretty funny. Like, I think the best joke in it was on Cindy runs outside when the cops show up and says, "The killer, he's inside." And then her dad says, "Yeah, and the sick bastard planted pot leaves all over my backyard."
But isn't the point of a scary movie, including Scary Movie 6, supposed to be that it's making reference to other pieces of media? It's parodying other horror movies?
Essentially, their parody is of various horror movies that came out around the time, which this is. there's a few gags making fun of Get Out, gags making fun of
Sinners.
weapons, uh, and just gags making fun of various horror media,
I don't know.
which is fine. I'm not against that. It just wasn't that well done.
I'm still more intrigued to want to watch this than Toy Story 5 and the Ultimate Things, mostly because, I'm just still stuck with the one thought and principle in my head that, they should have stopped at Toy Story 3.
But,
Man,
it just,
even
but yeah, but a comedy that isn't funny is kind of the worst thing to watch.
I don't know what else.
If you want a good parody movie, see the Naked Gun. That actually was funny.
But that's no longer in theaters, is it?
No, it's not in theaters, but it's on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
But,
don't know if I'd be willing
because
to
I
get
actually thought they did a good job on that one. I was hoping that one would get a sequel. I'm hoping with the whole snowman, where they bring that snowman to life, that could be a running gag where there'd be a fight between Frank and the snowman in every installment. It could end up being a great running gag, like Peter Griffin and the chicken. There's a scene in it where they bring a snowman back to life with voodoo and ends up trying to kill them. It's a ridiculous scene. The whole thing's done with an upbeat music montage.
I guess I could watch Backrooms or Obsession.
I actually saw Backrooms. Yeah, I'd probably recommend that. That actually was good.
I heard not good things about the death of Robin Hood.
He was no hero. Why are they making a movie to degrade Robin Hood?
Yeah.
He was no hero, huh? I'd be like Tony Soprano. In this house, Robin Hood is a hero.
Apparently, Regal Warren West here in Wichita is having an 85th anniversary of screening of Citizen Kane.
85 years, huh? Wow.
Yeah, come July 5th, actually, and July 8th.
Wow. Is his sled going to be there?
Is what?
His sled?
I don't get that reference.
Oh, the sled, it's not important. What's important about a sled?
Okay. I wish that we had more.
Come on, you haven't seen Citizens Kane.
No, I have not.
Ah! What the fuck?
I love triggering you this way, Loudmouth. Whenever I say I haven't seen a movie, and you're just like, ah!
Well, that's Citizens Kane. You had to have seen that.
I still have yet to watch it. I keep on hearing consistently good things about it, but I just never have.
It's a fucking genius masterpiece, a brilliant character study.
You want to know another movie that I haven't watched that's also pretty much a must-see is The Godfather.
Ah! Did you see at least Project Hail Mary?
No, I have not.
Ah! No, you need to see Project Hail Mary. It's easily the best movie this year.
Okay. Maybe I'll try to find a physical copy of it at Vintage Stock or something.
It hasn't come out in physical yet, but I don't know if it's out digitally or not. It's coming. It's not coming to physical till August.
Oh, okay. Still well before the year. But I mentioned Vintage Stock because Vintage Stock is like one of the only few stores that does video rentals anymore. Physical copy rentals.
Yeah, I got it pre-ordered. There's actually an Amazon exclusive gift set that's actually coming out in October. I already got that pre-ordered for Project Hail Mary.
You want to know what's a must-see movie that I have seen within the recent year? Is The Sandlot.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I guess you're not that big a fan of The Sandlot.
Babe Ruth.
I liked in particular the s'mores joke. Hey, you want a s'more? Some more what? A s'more. Some more what? How can I want more if I haven't had anything yet? You're killing me, Smalls. A
It,
s'more.
I liked that movie, but I was never like the biggest fan of her.
You know, it's funny of how that James Earl Jones is in that movie, and I was kind of mistaking that it was for a, I was mistaking it for a different movie, and the other movie apparently is The Outfield. What the heck is it called? There's another movie that James Earl Jones is in that is about
Baseball. You talking about Field of Dreams?
Field of Dreams. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Oh, that's great. If you build it, he will come.
It's kind of funny. I feel like the Doofenshmirtz meme. You know, if I had a nickel for every single time that James Earl Jones started a movie that was about baseball, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's still funny that it happened twice.
Yes. Would Doofenshmirtz be in that movie by building a Field of Dreams in Ador?
I don't know. He just make suddenly a whole
Baseball
bunch
time
of
in an Ador?
he just make a whole bunch of audience members show up in the bleachers all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's the thing he'd always have in that cartoon, and a bizarre Ador
Yeah.
in order to cause trouble.
Oh, I know. I've seen quite a handful of Phineas and Ferb episodes.
Yeah, good,
I,
good. Actually, that was actually a funny cartoon.
I haven't seen Field of Dreams in its entirety, although I do remember seeing a clip of the speech that James Earl Jones's character gives to one of the other protagonists, and he
People
goes
will
on about
come,
how that,
Ray.
huh?
People will come, Ray.
Yes, that speech. Just to like listen to James Earl Jones read the thesaurus, and it would make it sound interesting. What's another movie? I watched Fight Club for the first time within the last year.
Really? Holy shit!
But at least I watched it now, and now I
Yeah.
know what the twist is on it. Very trippy movie.
Oh yeah.
I don't even want to talk about it right here in case some innocent bystander ends up listening to this and has never seen Fight Club. I just gotta say, Fight Club, kind of an awkward feeling and mean spirited movie, but
Oh, it's
it's
extremely
still
mean spirited, but I think that's what makes it good. Sometimes you need something mean spirited.
yeah. But speaking of mean spirited, maybe I should finally watch Threads within the next few weeks.
It's coming to 4K Blu-ray next month.
Isn't it free on YouTube still?
Possibly, but that won't give you nearly the quality of a 4K Blu-ray.
Well, sure, but no offense, I do not think that that movie is going to be one that I'm going to want to keep a physical copy of, because I do not know if it doesn't seem like the type of movie to have that much of a rewatching power to it.
Well, anytime you want morbid fear and depression, it's the perfect movie to put on.
Don't we all have enough depression in our lives with the current political climate?
The political climate's always been fucked up. Going back to the beginning of time, that's nothing new.
Okay, sure, but maybe I want an escape from the political climate. I want to watch I don't know, Bruce Willis blowing up an asteroid to save the Earth.
Nah, just watch Surviving Earth, and just watch dinosaurs never see the sun again.
Or watch Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith blow up a mothership to save the Earth. Or how about Nicolas Cage coming back to his wife and kid after 10 years of being in jail?
Right.
What's another movie that I've seen for the first time though? I watched Me, Myself, and Irene.
Oh, Jet.
Yeah. It was a fun enough movie. I just realized as I watched that movie that one of the black characters was actually the same guy who plays as the fat black hacker guy from Transformers 2007.
Yeah, Anthony Anderson. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I kind of like the trio of black dudes, and kind of wish that they would have we would have seen them get into more shenanigans throughout the movie. But it was an all right movie, just very
Yeah,
funny.
your kids are a little dark, you know that.
It's like, don't you see that they have like a year-round tan? I mean, come on! I'm saying that their dicks are bigger than them sausages, man. Yeah.
No, they are my children. Right.
I saw Ace Ventura 2 as well. I thought that was funnier than the first Ace Ventura, not gonna lie.
Right.
And the buddy that I was watching it with, actually, he kind of agrees that Ace Ventura, yeah, it can be a little bit too much on the awkward side, whereas Ace Ventura 2, it some of the awkwardness is a little bit more justified. It's just overall funnier.
When nature calls, yes.
What's a
yeah, there was an Ace Ventura cartoon show in the 90s. I remember that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but unfortunately, it was made more for kids, so they have to tone down more of the movies and often adult humor.
Um, I would not be surprised if that's the same thing that happened with the Mask cartoon series that I've seen a few clips of.
Yeah, kind of similar, but they still managed to do some funny jokes. Like there was one where Ace travels back in time to ancient Rome and just asks, "Hey, what's your name?" One guy is like, "I'm a Spartacus." What? No, I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus.
Oh, because everybody wants to claim the legendary name.
Yeah. It was a reference to that movie.
Okay.
Uh, or another where he visits Russia and they're building like this new atomic facility. It's like, don't you guys realize the Cold War is over? Well, who won? We did. USA all the way. USA all the way.
Yeah, based.
And then at the end, the bomb fails to go off. Like, oh, your bomb's a dud. Well, that wouldn't have happened if we built it. USA all the way. USA all the way.
Apparently, there was one bomb that Russia made that was so fucking big that the plane could not clear the explosion of it. That being Tsar Bomba.
Yeah, it's actually the largest man-made explosion in Earth's history. 57 megatons.
Yep.
That's but that's about 4,000 times more powerful than the bomb that blew up Hiroshima.
Oof.
Fortunately, it was pretty much made to demonstrate as like a demo thing, but it's completely impractical for actual nuclear warfare. You say the bomb is so big and so heavy, it's impossible to fit it on an intercontinental ballistic missile. The only way to deliver it to an enemy's site would be to load it onto a giant plane and fly it there, which is useless because it would definitely be shot down before it hit its target.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that the problem was that it would not be able to escape the blast radius.
No, that's not the problem. But its problem is you can't deliver it to the enemy's target. Whereas in all the biggest intercontinental ballistic missiles have bombs that are about a bit over a megaton, which is still big enough to destroy a city, and a few thousand of them would end civilization.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I don't know. I think we're almost kind of winding down here. Actually, I'm curious since we're on the subject of new stuff. Have you seen the newest season of King of the Hill?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
I have not.
Aren't you kind of a King of the Hill fan?
Never. Not really.
Oh, not real. Okay. Well, Mike Judge was the guy who made Idiocracy, so I thought by default that King of the Hill would have also been something that you would have liked.
I like King of the Hill. I just never kept up with it that much.
I watched pretty much every single episode of King of the Hill, and I was especially annoyed at the and hello Night Shift in the live chat, by the way. I was especially annoyed within the late about the excuse me, annoyed at the later seasons of the original series, particularly seasons 12 and 13, because it's like as if the series had a bit of a case of amnesia as far as how good Bobby was with girls. And like the movie forgot, excuse me, the show forgot that he was ever with Connie, the one Asian girl that he dated a few times in the earlier series.
Uh,
Um, yeah, that was really frustrating. It was charming to see kind of an overweight guy be a bit of a charmer for the ladies in the earlier series, but ultimately his loyalty was still for Connie at the end of the day. But then later series, he's an absolute loser incel almost. And it's funny because Joseph, who was on the skinnier, more trim side, and you think that he would be the more ladies' man type in the earlier seasons of the series. But the thing is that he's such an awkward dork in those seasons that he's not able to attract the ladies. But in the later seasons, he's the one who's getting all the attention from the ladies, just out of nowhere with no inexplicably no reason. It's like yeah, I like King of the Hill a lot for a lot of reasons, but there are some times in which that the series is rather inconsistent. And speaking of inconsistent, King of the Hill season 14. You want to guess of how old that they make Bobby for this one?
what isn't it set like a decade later?
Yeah, something like that. So they do in fact do the revolutionary thing of having cartoon characters age up, whereas that seems to be typically a thing that cartoons don't do, like Simpsons and Family Guy and even Arthur from PBS Kids. They never age up their characters. So
They
kudos to
actually did
them.
age up Arthur for the series finale.
Well, yeah, but that's just like a flash forward thing that they did. I actually seen that episode, by the way. Um,
Oh,
I watched classic Arthur a lot when I was a kid when they did the original hand sketch animation. But when they switched to flash animation in the later seasons, I just, but
yeah.
well, by then I was also an adult, so therefore little to no interest in watching it. And then I only really went back to New Arthur for that final episode because, a
Yeah.
show that I watched in general. But
Yeah, that's why PBS shows do. They seem to last a while. Like, for example, how Elmo's been 3.5 years old for the past 40 years.
that's another example right there. But so King of the Hill's aging up progression and timeline is not perfect, but at least I give them credit for doing the revolutionary thing in general. But that being said, so the original series start and the first season of King of the Hill starts off in like 1997 or 98 or something like that. And Bobby, he's 11 years old. Few seasons later, he turns 12 and he turns 13, and then he's like stuck at 13 years old for the final 5 to 10 seasons or something like that. But here's the thing: in season 14, it's supposed to take place after COVID, but Bobby is only 21 years old by that time.
But
So
did
that
they ever mention the year exactly on those shows, or is it possibly ambiguous?
They don't explicitly mention the year, but you can get a lot of context clues that it's after COVID because there are plenty of references. Like Peggy mentions to Hank, I thought it was cute when you lied to this one black guy that you voted for Obama twice, and you would vote for him a third time. But we all know that you're a bad liar. Is what she says to him. So obviously takes place well after the Obama years, and not to mention plenty of references of the mask mandates and everything. Apparently, Dale became mayor of Arlen, Texas for a brief bit, and he put in some edicts saying that you're mandated not to wear a mask, and he actually got voted for based off of that platform, among all the other crazy conspiratorial stuff that Dale is known for. So there's plenty of references that COVID was a thing. The lockdowns were a thing in the kind of near-ish past. So it's in the 2020s, but Bobby is only 21. It's like, well, he would have been at least like 35 or something by this point. If he was like 11 in the late 90s, but now suddenly, magically, he was actually born in the early 2000s. And not to mention, this would also put in the continuity era that Cotton Hill would be his great grandpa, maybe even great great grandpa. But no, he's still referenced as just his regular grandpa and still having fought in World War II. And even Bobby even meets this one German guy who goes asking, "Hey, do you know a Cotton Hill? Ha, I'm his grandson. He killed my grandpa in Germany in World War II. So he was one of the fitty men." I actually get a kick out of that. It's like I know the series is so much, so I appreciate those callback references to a little bit of King of the Hill history and how Cotton Hill always went on about, "I killed 50 men." And he goes meeting one of the grandsons of one of those 50 men that Cotton had killed. But yeah, Cotton is still just his regular grandpa, but unfortunately, continuity errors. And I know that Hank already had was kind of a late bloomer to having Bobby as his son anyway to begin with, but this would like be putting it way late as far as when that he would have had Bobby in order for his direct dad to have been a World War II veteran and his own son being born in like early 2000s, according to the timeline of season 14 of King of the Hill. It's just, it's kind of a mess.
Yeah, guess so.
A little bit of my rant right there. Night Shift 10,000 in the chat here. Idiocracy, that movie that predicted how America would be in 500 years, but we got there anyway in 10. Pretty much. Although not quite as junked out. Well, I don't know. We're getting kind of close to there with the piles of feces in San Francisco and whatnot.
And yeah, and the fact that they just nominated someone who doesn't believe a murderer should be in prison for Congress in New York.
Oh yeah, the that Chevalier character.
Fucking turbo cunt, man. That it is fucking insane that bitch is likely going to be in Congress next year.
Yeah. Well, at least she gives more response material for all the right-wing political commentators on YouTube to point out and be all like, "Look at this stupid bitch."
Yeah, she's less stupid and more just fucking evil.
Probably, actually, yeah.
Let's let murderers out of prison because the system made you that way. So let's just go to every mass shooter in jail like, hey, the system made you that way, so you're free to go, man.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Kind of what I was about to mention too. Was her nicey nice tone and handling with kitty gloves the murderers by saying, "Oh, the system made you this way. We gotta just let you roam free."
Yeah, she probably would also want to put conservatives in gulags, but let murderers free. So, yeah, I mean, she's against prisons. She's not against gulags.
What you want to bet that if one of those murderers that she sets free, if they were found to have murdered somebody directly related to her, that at that point she would like flip-flop on her position and say, "Yeah, let's go back to locking all murderers up."
That's usually how it goes. Oh, yeah, that's that funny meme has Hassan Piker being like, "Punch Nazis," and then it has Sam Hyde, "I'm gonna kill Hassan Piker," and it has Hassan saying, "Threatening violence over the internet is not funny."
You know what's the funnier thing is that didn't Sam Hyde challenge him to a boxing match or something?
Yeah.
And Sam Hyde is somebody who Hassan accuses of being a Nazi. Well, Hassan, here's your opportunity to punch a Nazi, you dick.
Oh, I'd definitely pay to watch Hassan Piker get his face beat in. I'd pay to watch that.
Yeah.
I'm sure, and I'm sure every dog on the planet would start howling with joy.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, his attitude and everything makes him come off like the type of person who did not get enough spankings when they were a kid. Just such a petulant brat.
He's a he's a genuine psychopath. I mean, he just you can definitely tell the guy has absolutely no empathy and is extremely self-centered. He definitely has a
Yeah.
very childlike view of the world.
Yeah. I'm not
I
gonna say
mean,
that.
just listen to him. He talks like a teenager, even though he's a man well into his 30s.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say that I would go out of my way to celebrate his death necessarily, but I definitely would not share no tears.
No, no, I would. I'd be playing that. I'd be bringing out the party tunes. Celebrate good times. Come on.
Well, maybe for the fact alone that he is a dog abuser. A rather
Yeah, exactly.
consistent dog abuser. So it's not like it was just a one-off of where he
Yeah.
ended up
Who
using
let the
shock
dogs
collar on
out?
Kaya.
Right.
It's not just Kaya. He pulled the tail of another dog and just other examples
Think
that
of
I
all the
saw
things the
clips
guy's
of.
probably done to animals off camera. Okay, like I said, the dude's a psychopath. He probably tortures animals for fun on the regular.
Allegedly, folks. Allegedly.
I mean, he was in a German a German brothel that trafficked underage girls. Man, why
Yeah.
would he need to visit a brothel? He's wealthy, famous, and good looking enough that he could definitely attract women outside. I have nothing against prostitution, okay, but because not every guy can attract the kind of women they want. That's just reality. But Hassan is not the kind of guy who would need it. That implies he was doing something nefarious.
Well, or it's a possibility that his personality is really just that toxic to where that he turns off every you know woman who does not uh do sex work.
Dude, when women send love letters to Ted Bundy, dude, I don't think he's too toxic for that.
Are you? Well, maybe I don't know. I just remember there's this one clip of where that he's reacting to Mr. Beast paying for this one blind guy to get his sight back in. Think whatever you want about Mr. Beast, I don't care. But the one girl who he had next to him as they were reacting was like, "Oh, how sweet!" And then Hassan just went in a full rant. Was all like, "No, I am genuinely pissed at this." Blah 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 blah. And she was all like, "What is wrong with you?" It's like immediate pussy dry up. Let's be honest to hear what was happening right there.
I mean, obviously, I don't approve he did anything illegal at those brothels, but I mean, the thing is, kind of just put two and two together. Why else would he go?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, when people start to get into the investigations for him,
you know,
that
he looks scared over that. I'm willing to bet that he's got something in his text that's a lot worse than anything we know.
maybe, yeah, and but hopefully the investigations find out everything, find out the full truth of what he might have did in Germany and whatever else, how many dogs he's abused, etc.
Yes. Oh, as for me, I just love the smell of beer.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't remember the beat. I had to rewatch Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Speaking of movies that have rewatching power, Last Wish is pretty good.
Oh, that's a great movie.
But yeah, since you haven't seen King of the Hill season 14, I guess there's not much that can be talked about that. How much do you remember of Game of Thrones though? Because that's something that I've watched for the first time within the last year.
When I've watched like every episode of the show.
Okay, how long ago was that though?
I've watched them a few times.
Okay, I gotcha. My favorite character from Game of Thrones has got to be probably the Hound, honestly.
Right.
I mean, yeah, he's not the most morally upright. Ned Stark would have to take that crown, in my opinion.
And
As
look
far
where it
as a
got him.
moral, huh?
Look where it got him.
Yeah, unfortunately. The Hound is a survivor, though. And probably the most respectable thing about the Hound, I mean, yeah, he has a badass voice, a badass aesthetic, and he really kicks ass as well. But one of the more respectable things about him is of how he's kind of a humble guy. When somebody throws shit at him, he does not get all defensive or anything like that. Unlike somebody like Joffrey or a lot of other characters in Westeros might get if they were to insult their honor.
Joffrey's the fucking worst, man. Oh God,
Yeah.
that character. On top of being a sadistic psycho fuck, he's also a moron. He never makes a single correct decision in the entire show. Every time he comes out on top, it's the result of his grandfather, his uncle, or his mom overriding his decisions. He's never correct a single time.
Right. And it's not like he's completely classless as well. I'm going to be honest. The first time that I watched the series and I got up to Ramsay Bolton, I was thinking, you know what? Everybody goes hating on Joffrey, but this guy is worse than Joffrey.
Yeah,
and then I go thinking,
worse because he's smarter.
Yeah, I mean, but then I go thinking back on it, I go thinking, yeah, he's a lot more evil than Joffrey, or at least gets away with a lot more evil than Joffrey. But at the same time, he's kind of funny sometimes, Ramsay is. There's a certain class to his villainy. Like would Joffrey
Ramsay's definitely one of the most evil characters in fiction. That guy was an absolute monster.
Like would Joffrey be able to deliver the line of what that no pork sausage? You think I'm some sort of savage? No, Joffrey would definitely not have that amount of class. Line delivery like that.
That's saying real incredibly evil, incredibly sadistic. God damn that character.
But my favorite character, my favorite villain of the whole series has got to be Tywin Lannister, though.
Right.
Like he's an evil bastard, definitely, but at least there's a certain respectability, dignity, and pragmatism to his villainy at the same time. Like he doesn't want to literally kill every single individual that gets in his way. He kind of hates Tyrion, but at the same time, he kind of respects Tyrion at the same time. There's a certain love-hate relationship that he seemingly has with him. You compare the way that he views Tyrion versus the way he views Joffrey. Joffrey, he does not technically hate as much as Tyrion because he's not a dwarf or anything like that. But he at least sees that Joffrey is a whole lot more stupid. At least with his son Tyrion, he realizes that he can actually hold an intelligent conversation with him. So there is that bit of respectability that he has for his son, and ultimately did not kill him. And not to mention the one part in season 2 of where that he takes Arya Stark out of the stables and takes him or her as his maid servant in the royal quarters.
Yeah, of course he didn't know she was Arya Stark.
Right. He did not know that, but at the same time, he did not just go. He still could not help but feel that the one torturer guy was being a little bit too cruel than what these random prisoners, or who he thought were random prisoners, the way that he was being to them. So,
yeah, that little speech, when you get to be my age, the one thing a man focuses on is his legacy.
Yep. And not to mention the way that he humiliates Joffrey. Joffrey is all like, "I'm not tired!" And he just gives him a cold stare, like being
he
like,
sent the most powerful man in Westeros to bed.
Yeah. If you think that a crown makes one powerful, then you are a fool.
Right.
What is your favorite character of the whole series, though?
At least the first 4 seasons, definitely Tyrion.
Yeah. He would be my favorite character if only the writing remained consistent with him throughout the rest of the series. The reason why I say the Hound is because the Hound seemed to be the least sullied by the end of season 8, honestly.
Yeah, right.
I mean, yeah, there are some nitpicks to say about him, like maybe the one speech that he gives to, the final speech that he gives to Arya to get her to let go her quest for revenge might be a little bit out of nowhere, but If anything, I think it can be argued that that's more of a ruining of Arya's arc than the Hound's arc. I'm not sure.
All right.
I almost had the idea in my head to maybe do a tier list live stream of all the characters from Game of Thrones to talk about as a good segue to talk about each individual character, because there's just so much intrigue. Well,
Have you watched Knights
not
of the
with
Seven
all of them.
Kingdoms?
No, I have not. Is
You
that on
should.
HBO?
Yeah.
I think I actually saw.
It's a break. Well, it's a prequel. It's set 80 years before Game of Thrones, but 80 years after House of Dragons.
Who's that main character that it focuses around?
Duncan the Tall.
Oh, Duncan the Tall. I think I
He's
might have.
actually briefly mentioned in Game of Thrones in like one of the histories, but he's obviously long dead, long dead by the time Game of Thrones starts, because all men must die.
I thought I remembered him being referenced. I don't know why. I thought it was possible that the series took place sometime during the time of oh god,
Yeah,
Aerys. Yeah, King Aerys Targaryen the Mad.
no, it's not set before that, but you do actually meet the Mad King's father in it.
Gotcha. Maester Aemon. Isn't Maester Aemon, you know, the blind Maester in the Night's Watch? Isn't that supposed to be like Aerys' uncle?
Yeah.
Okay. So apparently, I'm guessing that we get to see a little bit of Maester Aemon in this series.
Not yet. Maybe he'll be in season 2.
Okay.
But would he have been around? If he was around then, he'd be a little kid during this time.
Oh, okay. I thought he might have been. Okay, I guess he would be definitely not yet of adult years, because I think the oldest that he was 90 or 90, maybe 99 by the time he died in Game of Thrones.
Did they mention his age? I forget.
I don't think they mentioned it explicitly in the series, but I just remember watching a whole bunch of lore videos about Game of Thrones, and I thought I saw they mentioned 99 was his age by the time he died.
If he was that old, I guess he could be a teenager.
Okay.
You know, that character is killed off in the show because the actor who played him died, and they didn't want to recast him, so they just wrote him dead.
Oh, or he was on his deathbed, rather, because obviously they had enough time to film a death scene of Maester Aemon.
Yeah, they just shot that after they got word that the actor had passed away.
Hmm.
That was kind of with some digital trickery.
Oh.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes information with Loudmouth Reviews.
Yeah, they weren't really planning on killing him off then, but when they hear that the actor died, they're like, "Yeah, we're not recasting him. We're just writing him out of the show."
I will say that one character that was my favorite, or quickly becoming my favorite, but kind of flopped at the end of the series, would have to be Samuel Tarly. You know, the fat guy that is kind of Jon Snow's sidekick throughout most of the series? Like, he has this real tangible arc of having more and more of a spine, being able to fight off a White Walker.
With how long the series is set over and all the shit he's gone, why is he still a fat guy?
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a problem right there. But I think
how's he getting that much food?
Good point. But I think what I have a bigger problem with was during the Battle of the Long Night, he just breaks down crying. And instead of like continuing to fight the whites and everything, he just ends up stopping fighting right before they're all wiped out, because, you know, Super Arya comes in to stab the Night King at the bare end of that battle. But he just breaks down like a bubbling baby. It's like, you've been in about as bad of battles like this. Like, you fought off the the Northmen when they tried to invade Castle Black. You stood your ground right then. You even comforted Pip, I think was the name of the character, when he had an arrow in his neck. And yet this is going to make you completely break down and curl up in a fetal position. Honestly, I can't really believe it. And I think it's just the writers were being lazy on what they wanted to do with Samuel
Yeah, there are a
Tarly.
few examples of that. Well, it definitely was a massive mistake to like truculate the last two seasons because they had a massively rushed to the finish that was unsatisfying for most.
Yeah.
I mean, like Daenerys kind of switched to madness, kind of like came way too fast.
Yeah, a little bit too fast, but definitely it's understandable in general that she would become mad a little bit, but it was a bit rushed. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just I don't know if it's something I like, but I find it interesting when she first meets Jon Snow. She's so entitled. She acts all so entitled at him, saying that you must give me the North. It is my birthright and everything. And she's just being an absolute bitch and being undiplomatic at first with him. It's like, how dare you be your own independent kingdom? It's like this guy was trying to reunite the North against bigger evils, people that are your enemies too, for that matter. And yet you want to spat him and slap him in the face over this shit because you're that insecure.
Queen. She's a queen. Okay, of course, she's gonna be like that. I mean, compare the average entitlement of the average woman. You made it a bard. Now magnify that entitlement to someone who rides dragons as a literal fucking queen. Okay.
Yeah, it's like I definitely do not think that was the intention of the writers, but they unintentionally showed that, hey, women can be more entitled than men. I mean, Jon Snow was a reluctant leader ultimately and want to become king of the North, but ultimately he does through circumstance, and Samuel Tarly propelling him, saying, hey, we need to make him the Lord Commander of the Night Watch, and it just takes off from there and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
why do they have the Night's Watch anyway at the end of the series? Wouldn't the Night's Watch purpose be completely useless by the end of the show? With the Night King defeated and with them making peace with the wildlings, why the fuck do they need the wall anymore?
Yeah.
Why
definitely
have
a plot hole. But there was on the point of men versus women, there was actually a reel that I ran across that was all like women when they introduce their friends versus men when they introduce their friends. And it's the scene of where they first meet each other, and Missandei is trying to introduce Daenerys and just goes through the entire word diarrhea of all of her titles, saying, this is you sip them before Daenerys Targaryen, the mother of dragons, and the unburnt, and blah 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 blah, breaker of chains. And then she finally gets done announcing Daenerys, and then God, the Onion Knight guy, I forget his name now, but it pans over to him and he's all like, this is Jon Snow. Because it just goes showing that men aren't as insecure to where that they need a million titles in their name.
Yeah. Well, his title would be King of the North at that point.
Yeah.
King of the North, his name is Snow.
Oh, Davos. Davos was that guy's name, the Onion Knight. I forgot his name. Yeah. You know, Davos, I like Davos as a character, but thing that frustrates me the most about him is of how much of a simp he is for the worst of the Baratheon brothers, that being Stannis. That guy was an absolute dick.
Yeah, but I think he did turn on Stannis after he did the worst of the things he did.
Burning his daughter to death?
Yeah, that was pretty fucking evil.
Yeah, kind of, but he did not get a chance to confront him, though, or anything. The most that he got to do was confront the Red Witch, and even then, he did not get a chance to give her comeuppance. Instead, she just ends up walking out far out into the snow and commit suicide essentially after the long night battle is done.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, she was 600, so she just let her ears get up to her.
so unfortunately, we do not get the catharsis of Davos getting to beat anyone up for that heinous crime of killing Stannis' daughter. The most that we get to see is I forget the Lady Knight's name, but the Lady Knight just executes Stannis.
Yeah.
I do gotta say that's the one best line that I like of Stannis. She's all like, "Do you have any final words?" And he's all like, "All right, go on, do your duty," because he just realizes, you know what, fuck it, it's hopeless. I'll just accept my fate right now.
Yeah.
That's the one favorite part that I like about Stannis, but otherwise, I don't like him. The
No,
one
I don't think
little
you're meant to, particularly. Yeah, that was a lot crossing all kinds of lines of evil.
Robert Baratheon, even though he is in fact kind of a pig, at least he's a charismatic and entertaining pig, though. Stannis was just all boring and villainy, and Robert is. There is a point in which that he shows that he has a conscience, because when he gives the order assassinate the Targaryen girl, he has no idea of her doings. For all he knows, she's just an innocent girl. But he gives that order, and then on his deathbed, he gives the order. You know what? Call off the assassination. And so there's a little bit of a conscience there. But then Stannis on the flip side has the gall to have his own direct daughter executed. So there is that bit right there as far as who's the more moral Baratheon brother.
Right.
A lot to think about the series, and very thought-provoking in a lot of ways. Very entertaining show, but very flawed at the same time. I think my favorite battle, though, is got to be the Battle of the Bastards, though.
Oh yeah.
Like I was on the.
Your words will disappear. Your name will disappear. Everything about you will disappear.
Yes, that was Sansa delivering that line to Ramsay, right?
Yeah. And I like that Ramsay's cruelty to his dogs was his undoing there. You didn't feed them for how long?
Yeah.
My dogs will be like, no, you starved those dogs and you trained them to be vicious. Okay, of course they were going to eat your face off.
Yeah, I was just on the edge of my seat throughout that entire battle. If there's any battle that I could say is almost on par with the Lord of the Rings battles, it would have to be that one right there. And just the way that Ramsay is consistently all like, knock loose, just consistent volleys of arrows just flying into Jon Snow's armies, and even killing some of his own men too, because Ramsay is just a cold-hearted son of a bitch who does not care of how many of his own men that he kills in the process. He's just that bloodthirsty.
Oh yeah, the guy's a complete psychopath. Incredibly evil character.
And but boy, did I get the biggest sigh of relief when I saw Peter Baelish's smug face come down the hill with the Knights of the Vale riding in on their cavalry, and Sansa at his side as well, just with a smug grin on her face too, realizing you're finally getting your comeuppance, Ramsay. Fuck you.
Yeah. It's a shame Rick didn't zigzag. Running in a straight line is incredibly stupid. That makes you easy to hit. If you zigzag, you're incredibly difficult to hit.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Rickon Stark.
And I know he's a kid, but yeah, if you're in his situation, zigzag.
He probably would not have known better since he was a kid. Just the only thing on his mind was getting as far away as quick as possible. I mean, if you zigzag, you're not getting as far away as quick as possible because
but you're much harder to hit target.
Yeah, I know, but he wasn't thinking strategically that way. Yeah, it'll take a little bit more time for you to get further away from Ramsay and to get to Jon, but hey, at least you have more chance of arrows not hitting you. But
Yeah.
lo and behold.
Right.
Well, we're about to approach on the 2-hour mark. I think we're reaching a good time to stop this live stream. You have any final words? Any ideas for next live stream? Maybe Loudmouth.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Trump's striking Iran again, so hopefully Trump doesn't announce he's going to give Iran another $100 billion.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to have to revive the political streams on my main channel for that one. We're on my secondary channel. Don't know if you noticed that.
Right. All right.
But thank you all for anyone who has watched or will watch. And it's been fun chatting with you, Loudmouth.
You too.
Have a good rest of your day, everybody. This is the Dark Conservatarian signing out.
All right,
God
bye-bye.
bless.